Hello and welcome back to Black Dice Gaming. I'm James and today we're going to be doing some painting. What we'll be painting up today is this little monster right here. So we're going to be tackling the Bone Dragon. As you can notice, it is just the dragon that we'll be tackling in this video. We'll be getting all the bone painted out and all the rest of it, so it's all ready for the tabletop. Now I've had a massive trouble with the base. You might just be able to see that it's still not 100% straight, but it was warped, and I've just received Cetra and his base is exactly the same. That's warped as well. So we'll be cracking on, and grab yourself a cup of tea, grab yourself some biscuits, packet of crisps, whatever takes your fancy. But let's get painting. So here we go. Right, so I've undercoated in Wraithbone, and the first colour that we'll be using will be Skeleton Horde. This is my own made up bottle of Skeleton Horde. So if you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know that what I do with it is I've basically diluted it 50-50 with contrast medium. And obviously all we'll be doing here is taking our time, and we'll be painting in all of the bone area. Now it's not too much of an issue if we get this anywhere else, because it's a nice light colour. Majority of it is going to be bone anyway, so we just need to make sure that everywhere is covered, all the nooks and crannies and everything, and just get a good strong solid layer of Skeleton Horde all over it. The 50-50 mix just helps it to flow a little better. It also sort of softens the colour a little bit, so it's not quite as dark and heavy. But you do need to be very aware of all the places that will need to be covered. Don't forget inside its ribcage and all the rest of it. Yes, it's going to be difficult to do that, but it still needs doing nonetheless. So I will say that this model, although is absolutely gorgeous, really nice dragon, it was an absolute pain to put together. I didn't enjoy putting it together at all, and I don't think all the videos that I've watched on this model, nobody's actually mentioned just how awkward it was. So I'm kind of wondering, was it just me? Did I make a bit of a pig's ear out of it? I don't know, but yeah, I wasn't happy. It took me as long to put this together as it did to put all the skeletons together, I think. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of bone on this model, so I'm not going to make you sit and watch the whole video of me painting the bones. So what I'll do is I'll crack on and I'll get the rest of it painted up, and we'll be back with the next step. Okay, so with the first coat on the bone, we should have something that looks a little like this. Okay, now whilst we're waiting for that to completely dry, oops, that's not good. Okay, so once we've got a full coat on that, then it should look a little like this. Okay, so we've got the Skeleton Horde contrast on. Now we're just waiting for it to completely dry in all the places before we move on to the next step on the bone. But in the meantime, we can concentrate and do some of this stone. So all I'm using here is a Basilicanum Grey, and we're just going to give the stone a coat and get all this stonework out the way. And that's going to break the back of majority of the model, to be fair. Now, there's a couple of things on the stone that you may want to pick out, or you may want to do slightly differently. Just down here, there are scarab beetles. There's one there with its wings open, and there's also skulls. You could obviously pick them out in the corresponding colours if you want. I I may do that at a later date, but for the time being, just doing the quick and easy method of getting this out of the way. I'm just going to paint the whole thing in Basilic Alum Grey. Okay, so there's plenty of stonework to be getting on with. So what I'll do is I'll crack on with that, and then we'll be back with the next step for the bone. Okay. So with the grey done as well, the Basilic Alum Grey on the stone, we're ready to move on to the next step. This is going to be dry brushing, and we're going to be using Drybrush bone, and we are just literally going to give everything a nice little dry brush, just picking up on the edges, smoothing out all the bits and bobs. This is going to be a relatively heavy dry brush to start with, but getting lighter as we move on to the next colour. So we're just moving it across the whole model. Don't worry so much about the underneath. That's probably going to be best left deeper and darker anyway, due to the fact that it's in shadow. But just go across the whole model in the Drybrush bone, picking up all the race bits. Okay, this is going to take a little bit of time. So what I'll do is I'll crack on and meet you back with the next step. Okay. So with the Drybrush bone dry brushed onto the bones, we're going to switch over back to the stone, and we're going to be using Dawnstone, and we're going to be doing exactly the same. We're going to give this a little dry brush of Dawnstone just on the edges to make the stone a little bit more appealing. It's at this stage that I would say that if I was to do the model again, I would probably not attach the dragon to the stone until I've painted the stone. I think there's a lot of detail in the stone which becomes incredibly difficult to pick out once the dragon is on top. That's not working, bear with me. So yeah, I think it would be, my advice would be to paint the stone, then glue the dragon in place, once that's undercoated as well. It just feels like it would be a little bit easier to do that. Then you could pick out all the skulls and things without too much hassle. Me, I'm just doing it as quick and simple as possible. Okay, so having said that, we're just going to crack on, get this Dawnstone over the top of the model, and then we'll move on with the next highlight on the bone, and I'll be back in a few. Okay, so we dry brushed the stone, we've dry brushed one layer on the bone, and now we're going to give it its second dry brush. For that, we're going to be using Screaming Skull, and we are going to do just the sort of top section, only the bits that are really going to get the light on them, and it is going to be such a light dry brush. You need to sort of take as much off the brush as you possibly can for this. We really don't want to be introducing too much of this colour to it. So again, we're just going to sort of give it a little highlight at the sort of highest points, just bringing out that really light colour of the Screaming Skull. Make it look like it's bleached in the sun. Such a tricky model because it has no proper sort of backbone. So yeah, we're just concentrate on its head, its neck, tops of the arms, tops of the wings themselves. Nothing too fancy, just getting it where it needs to be. And obviously concentrate and do a little bit on the tail as well. Such a bouncy model. Okay, so that's roughly about it. Just introduce that colour and sort of stippling on in areas as well. Okay, so we'll let that dry for a little bit and we'll be back with the next step. Okay, so moving on to the next step, we're going to concentrate on the gold. So for that, we're going to be using Retributor armor. And there's not a lot of gold on this, considering Tomb Kings are renowned for the amount of gold that they have. There's very, very little on this dragon. So it's just its headpiece here. It goes down to the skull here. And then there's some bangles on his arms, just his front arms on both sides. And that's it for the gold, which is unusual for the Tomb Kings. They're normally really heavily covered in gold and bits and bobs, but that's not too bad. Usually gold is the longest step when painting Tomb Kings, but not on this dragon. Okay. Right, so it's just a simple all-over coat in the Retributor armor, and we'll leave that to dry. And I'll get that done. Be back with the next step. So we've picked out the gold, and now we're going to pick out the horns and the claws and all the rest of them. And we're going to use Black Templar for this. Let me get prepared. Sorry, I thought I was ready. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to give a little brush over on all of its horns and claws. And the spines along the back. Okay, so we're just going to pick them out nice and simply. Like so. Flip it over. Do the other side. Noticed I missed a little bit of gold there. I appreciate you just got a big black base. Sorry, that wasn't thought through, was it? Okay, and then all of its talons as well. Just need to work out where they start from. Just there. Like so. And this is why I've made the rock so light, so his talons, when painted black, are going to stand out. You can see where they are. Probably do a little dry brush on these talons as well at some point, just to give them a bit of an edge. Well, maybe just do an edge highlight actually, rather than a dry brush. But yeah, and then you've got the ones on the wings. These big ones up here. I'm going to cover all those in Black Templar as well. Okay. So there's quite a bit to be getting on with. Won't make you watch any more of it. But we'll be back with the next step. Okay, so with the black detail all boxed out, we're going to move on and do some of the decorations. So the triangles are usually done in blue and red, and I'm going to do that today. So we're going to be using Mephiston red and Hamrian blue. I'm going to go with. Yep. So I'm going to do the triangles on his head. There's a few details on some of his bracelets as well, just here, and then there's some here as well. I think it's worth picking them out. We'll start with the red. So I'm going to do the top triangles in red and the bottom triangles in the blue. All up on his face just here. See if I can get it so you can see what I'm doing. So yeah, there we go. So there we go. It's just as simple as taking your time and just box or triangle them in. Okay, we're going to go over with a wash just to define a lot of the edges, so don't worry too much. Just get them done like so. Okay, so you can see what I'm doing, and then I'll do the blue on the bottom triangles.
I don't know that.
Okay, thanks Alexa. And we've got boxes on here that we will be alternating, and then there's some little ones just along here. It doesn't go all the way around, but I'll just be alternating those in the red and the blue as well. Okay, so I'll crack that out and we'll get back with the next phase. So with the blue and the red now done, it's time to do a shade. I'm going to use Agrax Earthshade, as I usually do. And, oh, good job that one open. And I'm going to go over all the gold area. So, I'm going to go over all the gold and the red and the blue that we've just done. I'm going to get it to fall into the cracks to give that red and the blue the definition between each other. Okay, so it's just a nice simple wash over everything now. Darken it all off, pick out the detail, let it do what a good wash does. Okay, so we will come back and we'll re-highlight this red and blue, just to make it stand out a little bit more. We do want that to be a little bit brighter, but doing the wash first just gives it the definition, fills out those lines in between each one. And it actually makes it look a lot neater. Okay, so it's just a standard wash over the gold. It's not going to take me too long, but I'll crack on with that and we'll be back with the next step. So with the Agrax Earthshade now dry, we're going to re-highlight the red and blue. For that, we're going to be using Temple Guard Blue and Evil Sun Scarlet. Okay, obviously you'll know which one we're highlighting each one with. And all this is a case of just get a tiny amount on your brush And what we're going to do is just going to re-establish that colour once it's been dimmed or dulled by the shade. I'm just going to carefully pick it out like so. Just to brighten it all back up again. And make it pop a little bit. So again, it's going to take a little while. Just be really patient. Don't rush it. There's not many to do. So there's no need to rush. You may just have to pass over a couple of times. Just till you get the desired colour that you're looking for. Okay. So as you can see, they start to stand out a lot more compared to the other ones. Alright, so I'll crack on with the red and the blue, and we'll be back. And so there we go. We've finished her off. So I basically used some what's it called now? Armageddon dust. I used some sterling mud, and I used some agrelin earth. Just on the base there. I don't know if you can quite see some of the cracked earth underneath. Just to finish her off, and then I put some tufts on as well. And there we go. There are a few things that I've missed off, so the strapping and the wooden pieces here, that's because I haven't started painting the top yet, so I'm not sure what colours I'm going to go for there. But that's the only reason why I've not added them in. But there we go. An absolute lovely dragon, which was a nightmare to put together, but relatively straightforward to paint, or hopefully I've given you a very easy method of getting a really good standard of a paint job. Alright, so if you've enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Share it with your friends and families and everyone else if you can. But hopefully I shall catch you in the next one.